Hi, everyone. I'm just going to wait a few minutes for people to get on. I hope you're having a wonderful, blessed day. And thank you, Beth, for inviting me to visit with you about priorities and time management and how that affects our families and our personal lives and our professional lives is it has a huge impact in our lives. And so we're going to discuss a little bit of that today. I'm just going to give a couple of minutes because on these lives, I found that if I start talking right away, everyone gets on about 12:02 or, a few minutes later and they miss it. So to just honor everybody being able to get on so that you can really get the most impact from this live discussion would be my heart. And I'm super excited about, as I have navigated through Beth's group, I just love what you're doing, Beth, first and foremost, and the fact that you're setting family, physical, and health and spiritual wellness is such a high priority. I think it's key. I am an RN. My name is Tina Rains, and I've been a nurse since, I'm going to age myself, since when did I graduate? 89. So wow, okay, that's exactly 30 years. My focus has always been mother-baby primarily. I did some other areas of life, and I'm an entrepreneur by profession. I built a healthcare staffing company. I led a ministry against human trafficking for a very long time, and all the while, about 4 years ago, I actually went to the John Maxwell training because I just had a passion to help other people get to the next level, and coaching and speaking and training is a huge part of us growing. And so that's why I'm here today, is to share some tools that I've learned. Some of it had nothing to do with training. A lot of it had to do with being an entrepreneurial mother. And how do you prioritize your family, your job, build a business, be, the successful entrepreneur that God's called you, but be a successful mother and wife and all that goes with it. Sometimes it's like a juggling act. And I think it happens whether it's you're a mom that's working outside the home, a mom at home dealing with all the day-to-day things there are to take care of, and or the father who is working all day, coming home, trying to provide for their family and trying to be present for their family and do things that are going to be effective and build character and draw your children closer to Christ, and all the pieces of the puzzle, especially when you were trying to raise Christian kids and you want them to know their value and you want them to know their worth and you want them to feel important. And all the while, let's face it, sometimes juggling all of that, and you're laying in bed going, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? And prioritizing time away as a family. And so one of the key things that I found through coaching over and over and over, and even my own weakness, to be really transparent, I have not arrived. And anyone that tells you they have, they're probably not telling the truth. And maybe they have, I hope they have. But we're all works in progress. So more than anything, I want you to take away that the fact that you're here, the fact that you're in this group, the fact that you're moving forward and really prioritizing health and wellness and spiritual is number one. That's you're setting that as a priority, just being here. So congratulations. That's awesome. I love that. One of the things John Maxwell, actually, he talks about all the time. And if you talk to leaders that really are focusing on making their lives and their families their priority, 9 times out of 10, they're looking at the year, at the beginning of the year, they're sitting down and they are doing, they're doing their calendar for the year. And they're not doing it based on their business. They're doing their business after they're plugging in, okay, our family's going here on vacation. This is a priority, and setting all of their family needs in that 1 year calendar first. So you take your calendar at the beginning of the year. Obviously right now we're in August, so you could still take, through the rest of the year and stop, look at your calendars and look at what you have on there and look at where you want to be. And that takes intentionality, takes setting goals and really thinking about what are the things that are important to our family. And I provided this key, which is a super simple thing. And this I use on a weekly basis. And what that helps me do is, there's 5 days, 5 lines for the 3 priorities. And for me, I have the three areas of goals. One is my spiritual walk, number one. Number two is my family. And number three is my business. And I set the goals for the week. And you could utilize this tool for the year as well, though, and set your top priorities for your family. What are your top priorities for your family and top goals, and where do you want to be? And so if one of your key goals is to spend an hour a week in playtime and physical activity, how are you going to do that? How are you going to break it down and plug all those things into your calendar first, and all of the goals for your time with the Lord? I even go as far as, for myself, on my actual calendar every morning, it pops up time with Jesus. And sometimes it takes that intentionality to set it on your phone so it sets a reminder, because oftentimes you get up and you get busy and you just, if you're working your life reactively, you don't get things done. But if you're proactive and you're looking at things with the plan of action and the steps that it's going to take to get there, then you get to your goal. And so it sounds almost more like working a business, I know, but it's just reality. If we don't set those priorities, we become very reactionary. And let's face it, as parents, there's a lot of things that will be reactionary as things happen. Your kid gets sick and things have to change, and a business trip or what have you with work. So obviously you've got to have some flexibility and some mobility in there, but your priorities are still your priorities. Your goals are still your goals, and really taking time to think about what those are as a family, as a husband and wife, or even as a single mom. I was a single mom for years and years, so it was even a little trickier. I'm running a business, I'm a single mom, and trying to navigate through that was quite the extraordinary. I look back and go, how did I do that? But I also was navigating, okay, God's called me to serve at my church too, so how do you prioritize that, and what does that look like? And so really taking time to set those priorities, and you'd be surprised at how many things you'll say no to. Because if your top 5 goals for your family, if your actions are not meeting those goals, if they're doing something else, which might be good stuff, might be good activity, might be serving God in different ways, but as you pray through and ask God, what do you want those goals to be for me? In my walk with you, how do you want me to serve? How do you want me to spend time with you? What does that look like for me? And setting those goals. And in my spiritual, it is, how do I serve? What does my time with the Lord look like? What Bible studies am I going to be involved with? And my kids are older, so we're not doing, they're doing their own individual devotionals. We don't do the family devotionals like we used to. But even as I'm sitting here going, well, we probably should. They're all grown except for one. And so, really prioritizing that in your personal, and then on your, for me, my family, what are those trips? Because, it can be a trip just to the park, but like even on a weekly basis, like what are the activities, the physical activities that we want to do this week, which is a part of this wellness. But that wellness piece is also invaluable, creating memories, because the reality is, to give you perspective, I have 4 biological children, 3 stepchildren, and 6 grandkids. And so when you think about like prioritizing and time management, the greatest things that my grandchildren and my children, when they talk to me about what they remember and the memories, it's not the things we had, it's the things we did. The bike rides and remember we used to do this, and we had that, we would do swim time and, different things. And so having time, whether it's swimming, going on your bikes for 30 minutes a day, whatever your joy is, and whatever, activity that your family likes to do together, make it a priority and take your calendar and block those times out first before you look at your schedules for anything else. And make those your priority. And then in your business life, what are your business goals, and how can you achieve those business goals while also prioritizing these? And how is that going to work? And so you really need to have a clear vision of what those are and a clear perspective, and really seek the Lord on those to really be focused on them. And then as you see on this corner here where it says the Devil's Vortex, and I know all of you have this, and if you don't, definitely ask Beth. I know she sent it out, but this Devil's Vortex, and what that means is if there's anything that you're doing that does not align with your goals for the week or for the year, you need to delete it, because the devil will be in the details oftentimes, and if he'll try to get you busy. And so in a family especially, you have kids' sports, you have all these different things, and you've got to look at that and go, okay, what part of those activities are not meeting our family goals, our health goals, our spiritual goals, our business goals? Where do we as a family want to be, and what do we need to eliminate, and what do we need to add? And then take one step at a time for that. And what's very helpful for me, because, and I say it transparently, this is one of my greatest weaknesses. And it used to be I would say yes to everything. God's blessed me with a big heart. Like, I love helping people, but sometimes I can't help everybody. Sometimes God's not calling me to help people. And sometimes what happens is you have gifts and talents, and people know you have gifts, specific ones, and there's a need for that specific thing, whether it's in church or a ministry, what have you, and they'll go, can you help? Well, yeah, I would love to help, because it makes you feel good to help people. Then all of a sudden you're helping all these people, and you're not seeing your kids for 3 days a week or whatever, at night. And that's not what God's called it. Our kids are our first ministry. They are our first priority, and we have to balance that. And so I've become very good at saying no. Sorry, it's not good timing for me. Sorry, it's not. And just really praying through, going, what do you want, God? I remember the first time as I was walking through this season, God called me out to do an event, and proceeded to call me into full-time ministry in that specific ministry. And at the time, my friend had been praying. She prayed for weeks before she even asked me, because she knew that's my weakness, and she didn't want to ask me something that would, get me tripped up and focus on something other than my priorities. And so she prayed for weeks about it, and then shared, hey, Tina, you want to do this? And I prayed about it and knew that I was supposed to. And I remember in that moment going, wow, it's so different when you know that's him leading versus just saying yes, yes, yes. And so I deleted every board I was on, deleted everything, and then started fresh, and then only plugged in the things that were the God things. And it was amazing how free I became in my time, and how I had time to set priorities, and how I wasn't just reacting all the time to different things. I was actually being proactive. So I encourage you to do that and really evaluate that. Anything that's going to take you in that devil's vortex, and even good things should go in that devil's vortex. It's distraction to what your priorities are. So really take a look at that and prioritize that, because that's a huge, easy one. And sometimes it is ministry. If God's not calling you, just say no. So anyway, but this one's the daily planner. Now, I'm not saying that you have to do this every day, but if you're struggling, and I have some coaching clients that I have them literally for the first several weeks document every single thing they do all day long. And the reason I do is because you don't realize how much of your time ends up getting wasted. You have all these goals, all these priorities that need to happen during the day. And then when you look at your schedule, none of this, which is your schedule, the hourly, what you did, matches up to what your goals are. And the big goals especially, and I've had people go for days and never check off any of their goals, but they were busy all day long. And so it's the same concept as I was just discussing. And if you're not sure what your days and why your days are going so fast, and what is going on in your life that you can't seem to get things prioritized, whether it's business, personal, home, taking care of kids. And I know that with 4 kids, between feeding and changing and all that, it can get a little hairy when they're little. So I totally get that. But even in that, there's times that you can prioritize certain events that are a high priority, especially, the physical, the spiritual time with the kids, going to the park and playtime, different things like that, and make them part of your goals. And then, of course, this is someone you just contact if it's at work, people you really need to contact today, or if you're at home with the babies, whether it might be an electrician you need to call, whatever that looks like for you, but just helping you get organized. And you know what? If you're a person that likes a planner, you can go buy a planner that would be similar to this. You wouldn't have to use this, or just print up a bunch of them and stick them in a notebook, even whatever works for you. But become intentional and become focused on setting your priorities and then looking at them and seeing, how did I do today? And scoring yourself. At the bottom, there's a score. And I think that's very helpful, because as you're scoring yourself each day, if you're at a 5 or 6 and you're not feeling good about it, then take a look at that schedule. Okay, what can I change and do differently tomorrow that'll make me feel, what didn't I like on that, what I didn't accomplish today? What didn't I like about it? What can I do differently that's going to improve that? And then the next day, set your goals accordingly and write it back out. And it's really interesting when you do this for like a week or two, how you're like, oh my gosh, I waste so much time on some of us on social media. And I'll be the first to say it. Social media, to me, is one of the biggest stealers of our time. I think it's a valuable tool for things like this and for even keeping up with friends and family. But you can do it in a limited volume versus having, it slips away from, all of a sudden it's like 2 hours that you're on social media just checking everything out. But your kids need this, that, and then all of a sudden you're rushed. And there's nothing worse than when you're at home and you are dealing with your kids and things are going on, that you're not focused, you're not there, you're not present, because nobody wants to sit, their kids included. I mean, my kids at times would say, Mom, I'm here, hello, and it's people want to have intentional time. They want your full attention. And it's rude. It's rude for us not to give that to our children, to our spouses, and to our friends. So put it on Do Not Disturb. No one's going to, there's other ways to reach you in an emergency if they need to reach you. And I think sometimes people just forget that. And it's just a habit. All of a sudden, I'll look at, and I do it frequently, and I've really tried to be intentional to not have that phone at the dinner table. That's talking time. Not have it at in bedtime. That's not the place for it. So I say that because you'll be surprised if you pay attention how much time you waste on things like that, not just social media, but a lot of different wasted time. So, and then buckets of life, what's important? And I encourage all of you, it's important to do physical with your kids and your family, but it's really, really, really important for them that you take care of you. You need to be working out and feeling good about taking care of yourself, because if you're taking care of yourself, you're much better for them. When we're not taking care of ourselves and 100% of our energy is going to the children and the family and the work and all of that, and not doing self-care, it totally distracts us from the things that are party, because we're not feeling good. The more you take care of yourself, the better you're going to feel about yourself, the better you're going to feel for your family. So don't leave that off. I encourage you to stop and add that in your schedule before you add most anything else, because your spiritual and your physical are very, very important to your mental ability to take care of everything else that you have to do, because it's a natural thing. It's not even it just makes me feel good, but literally the endorphins that are released, it's a mood enhancer. It helps you focus. It helps you relieve stress. There's so many positive things for us mentally and physically that happen when we do our physical activity. That's really a key thing that we need to set as a priority for ourselves. Most important, I have very top spiritual. Every day, you need to try to get up early if you need to, whatever that looks like for you. Set that time. For me, it's first thing in the morning, because my day just does not go well if I don't have that time with God. So in the Word, praying, worshiping, and journaling, watching what God does. And I think that's a really exciting thing. And it's one of the things that I haven't done well in my walk is journaling, but I really encourage you to do that. That's one of the things that I'm focused on improving myself, because when you look back, I was recently looking back at a time where I was really good and faithful in the journaling, and there was so much improvement. So I think if you'll do that, and if you're just starting on this journey of wellness with your family, just starting on this journey of trying to get prioritized, start journaling it, because you'll be amazed what will happen in the next few months as your priorities are straight and you're actually focused on working proactive versus reactive. you're going to see a lot of change in the time that you have available to spend quality time with your family and still achieve the great things that you want to achieve personally and professionally, because you are managing your time well. So that's key. Then fitness is second. I have on there finance, family, love interest, your spouse, or what have you, personal development, business, and fun and relaxation. All of those things are key ingredients to a healthy, happy life. And one individual told me one time, think about your life. It's like a garden. And in your garden, you have all these different vegetables. And you want to make vegetable soup. Well, if you only had carrots to put in your soup, it's going to be a really boring soup. And if you forget the main ingredient, which is your spiritual walk, it's not going to have any flavor. And so I encourage you to take a look at the different parts of your life. And there's going to be some days you can't meet every single one of those. But if you can meet a little bit of each every day, it's going to be very impactful for you. And it's going to, I know it's improved my life greatly, and I'm continuing to work on that. I don't want to say, again, I haven't arrived, but I'm working on it. And it has definitely improved my ability to multitask, which, you know, I definitely am a multitasker and have a lot of things going on at the same time. So it's blessed me tremendously. So thank you, everyone, for having me and for allowing me to share just some tools that I've used that God's helped me to prioritize and strategize. I really appreciate it. And Beth, keep up the great work, because I love what you're doing. I love the Bible studies and things that you're doing. And I encourage all of you to make that a priority and use them. They're great tools. So what a blessing for all of you to have that. So thank you, and God bless you. And I pray that you just use these tools well. Thank you.